let's talk about non-fiction books. It is almost exactly 2 years ago since I did the last installment of my DDC non-fiction shelf series. And I'm going to be honest with you, that's because when we move around to the 700s, it just became more awkward to film. It's on an entirely different bookshelf, different part of the house, and it was just too hard. But here we are, finally. So let's do a quick recap of what is happening here. I've been doing a tour of my non-fiction shelves. I organized my non-fiction on separate shelves to my fiction, and I ordered them in DDC order, which is the Dewey Decimal System. Dewey Decimal System is just a categorizing system that's used in many places around the world. It's definitely used in Australian libraries, and it's the one that I'm familiar with, so that's how I organize my shelves. Obviously, any system named after a person, DDC is named after Melville Dewey, who created the bones of the system. Things that are eponyms, the person that it's named after is obviously problematic. The system itself is problematic, as you will see if you look into it at all, if you've watched this series. There's no nuance for things that aren't white, Western, European centric. However, that doesn't matter in the 700s where we are today, because that is the arts. Well, actually, it probably does matter if you like things that aren't Western art, but I'm not an art person. My art consists of everything that's in the 800s, which is literature. My art is collecting books. This is probably my smallest category, and so all the racism inherent in the system doesn't really apply to my collection. But you know, DDC, take it with a grain of salt, obviously. Now, I actually rely on a website called Library Thing to help me categorize my system. It doesn't use the Dewey Decimal System, Dewey Decimal Classification System, because that is copyright. So it uses the Melville Dewey system, which is pretty much identical. And one last thing, obviously your own library, do what you want. So if my books are in different spots than your books, that's cool. Put them where it makes sense to you. If you mix up your fiction and non-fiction, good on you. If you sort by color, I don't understand, but you do you. Let's talk about the 700s. So where is this in relation to the rest of the shelves? This shelf and this shelf are shelves that I have to walk around to get to my bathroom. Over here, that shelf, can you see? My computer, that's the shelves that you normally see when we're talking about books. 700s on my shelf range from here to here. So small, so short. 700, as I said, is the arts. What a broad category. Let's break it down. 710 is area planning and landscape architecture. Can't think of anything more boring to have, but I suppose if you have those gorgeous coffee table books, that's where that would sit in. 720 is architecture, and I do have an architecture book. 726.609, which is surprisingly the history of cathedrals. This is Heaven on Earth, The Lives and Legacies of the World's Greatest Cathedral by Emma J. Wells. The cover got me on this one. Cathedrals got me. I have a degree in medieval history, and so related things often interest me. I struggled my way through this book. I will link my review below, and I think I even did a reading vlog on it. It was a bit of a slog, and mainly it was because that I had never seen these places in real life, and likely will never see these places in real life. So the abstract of just reading them, even though there are color photographs, and of course I have the power of the internet to look things up, I struggled with that one. 730 is sculpture and related arts, and under this one comes this one. I have The Armourer and His Craft from the 11th to the 16th century by Charles Fawkes. This is a book that I inherited from a relative's collection when they passed away, so it's probably not something that I'll read, but it is about arms and armour. It has its own specific number, of course, 739.75. Can't tell you anything about this. Let's have a look. What does it say here in their contents? The Armourer, tools and appliances, iron and steel, decoration, cleaning, use of fabrics and linen, use of leather. I guess it's just a primer on how to make stuff. This relative of mine was a member of the SCA, and so probably did a lot of cosplay stuff. or at least was interested in it. 745.67 illuminated manuscripts. First one is, oh, this is nice and heavy. A Tashkent collection, the Book of Bibles. All the numbers of illuminated manuscript is 745.67. This, I don't think it has any information in it, but it has many, many pretty pictures. I have not read it. I have had a flick occasionally, but like everything else from this Tashkent whatever collection, they're just so pretty. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of an explanation going on there. This one says Peter Lombard, Collectania in Epistolas Pauli. Oh yeah, it says Paul right at the beginning there. So, the Book of Bibles, a collection of illustrated manuscripts. And then from Sophie Page, Astrology in Medieval Manuscripts. This is part of a collection published by the British Library. Let's find some pretty pictures. This one I have read. Sophie Page is a medieval historian of magic. And this one as well from Sophie Page, Magic in Medieval Manuscripts. So pretty. And then this one, again from the British Library, but by Kathleen, Walker-Meikle, Medieval Cats. Which, again, medieval cats are prevalent in illuminated manuscripts and it's relevant to my interests. Also in this section, in the wrong spot, is Maggi Gordon and Ellie Vance Stitch Step by Step. This is a reference guide for hand stitching. Let's find an example. Oh my goodness, the receipt's still in here. It has faded, but I reckon this cost me $10 from the post office because lots of things cost me $10 from the post office. Where's the contents? Tools and materials, stitch gallery, stitch essentials, embroidery basics, and then types of embroidery. So obviously a reference guide if you want to know about embroidery steps. Here's some examples of beadwork. I have another one in this same series that is, it must be sewing. It's more utilitarian sewing stitches. Really useful to have on hand actually. This one not so much. I don't think I've really looked in it, but the other one I have definitely used as a reference for things like hemming and buttonholing and repairing things. 750 is painting. 760 is printmaking and prints, and I have nothing in that category. 770 is photography and videography and that sort of thing, and I don't have anything in that category either. And then 780 is music, and I have a couple of things here. I have this beast. If I pull it out, will everything fall? This is the original Beatles anthology book. I think it came out in 1994. No, 2000. And they've just reissued this a couple of years ago in a smaller but still coffee table format. I was so obsessed with the Beatles, which you will know if you've been here for a minute. And, oh, it's so heavy. Let's see what's in here. And this is basically like a scrapbook edition of the anthology show. And it's precious to me. Obviously. That is 782.421, which is like general music principles. And again, in that 782.421 is the Garbage biography as well. Garbage is my favorite band. And so this one with its neon pink spine, again, of interest to me, not as interesting as I thought it would be, less juicy than you want, but I suppose they are still all alive and talking about alive people, and they have to legally protect themselves. And then I will link my review of this one, John and Paula Love Story in Songs by Ian Leslie. The call number here is it's so long. It's 782.421666092, which boils down to biography of rock songs. And this is the story of John and Paul and their songs in particular, not the Beatles, although the Beatles do form a part of the story. Obviously, it's about the relationship between John Lennon and Paul McCartney through their songwriting, through their lyrics. And finally, in the 700s category, 790 is recreational and performing arts. And this is where my tabletop role-playing game handbooks live. 794 is indoor games of skill or board games, and I have the Numenera Player's Guide. This is the rules for the tabletop version of a game based on Torment Tides of Numenera, I think is the name of the game. And I have this because I kickstarted the game because it was like a spiritual successor to Planescape Torment, which came out in the late 90s. And I kickstarted it so hard, there's like a gravestone in the game with my name on it. But I didn't actually enjoy it that much. That's the problem of Kickstarter. Also in here is either mine or Ash's D&D Player's Handbook. This is 3.5 edition, which is when we were playing D&D. So again, 90s, early 2000s. Ash has drawn in this one, so I think it's his copy, but I definitely had one too. That is my 700s. Thanks for sharing with me. I will make more because we've got a few more shelves, 800s of literature and 900s of history to go. Exciting.